given the deck a thorough shuffle for this one, making 8 changes to his run-out 15. Behind an all-new front row, there are 2 of the Premiership's most dynamic big men, Ian Harlequin's Dino Lamb and Exeter's Ross Vincent. Michele Lamaro will lead out a side who know they must be better. There's familiarity in the midfield. Brex and Menoncello are amongst the first names on the team sheet these days, and at half-back, not least because Paolo and Alessandro Garbisi are brothers. To quote Richard Cockrell, he is blessed with an abundance of strong, stocky and aggressive men. And here are 15 of those. Just the one tweet to the outfit who gave the All Blacks 15 plenty to ponder in Montpellier as Irakli Abtsiaoui gets the nod in one of the game's most infamous scrums. Alongside skipper Vasil Lobjanadze is Luka Matkava, whose cannon-esque effort made history in Cardiff not so long ago, whilst David Niniashvili at fullback is one long, fast-twitch muscle and will take some diffusing. Not all Sundays are born equal, and what a Sunday this is for the Bertaccinis. Giulio, wearing blue and number 23, has been plucked from Valo Rugby Emilia in Italy's 2nd tier and will earn his debut today if called upon. Ben Kay, buonasera. 2.5 years is a long time in sport, but how fresh will Batumi be in these two sides' memories?
I think in the back of the mind it will be there for everyone, and you know, this Italy team, off the back of the result last week, they can't afford another slip-up, so extra pressure on them. From a Georgian perspective, it's all about matching your team's DNA to your coach, and they've done that with Richard Cockrell. He's all about consistency and making his team perform at a high enough level consistently that people say actually they should be eating at the top table.
It's been an anarchic few years for rugby. Wherever you look, up-and-coming nations are smudging with relish the lines between those old-school notions of tiers and of hierarchies. Georgia are up there with the most ambitious and irreverent, and they have come to Genoa for the win. The Azzurri from right to left, all in blue. The Lelos clattered on that kick-off receipt in red and white. It was deep from Paolo Garbisi, and it's the skipper Vasil Lobjanadze just digging that one out and sending it end over end up towards that 10-metre line.
A good start.
Okay, good space early, Georgia.
For the Georgians, all about just getting their drills right. They don't want to make an early mistake, allow Italy into the game. They want to stay in an arm wrestle for as much as possible. They know the dangers of this Italian side and how quickly they can open things up. They started a few big Six Nations games very quickly. They need to make sure Georgia settle into this.
No Federico Ruzza on this occasion, but Dino Lamb, a very able deputy, and look at the rumble they've got on here. Michele Lamaro, the latest to have a touch, then through the hands of Brex onto Paolo Garbisi, and Tommaso Menoncello straightens. Excellent placement, allows it to be whipped away, and onto Danilo Fischetti, still going. Garbisi, flat pass onto his captain, Lamaro. Garbisi again, but intercepted. Niniashvili, the danger man. We talked about him pre-match, and it's taken him 90 seconds to have an essential play.
Let's release the ball.
Well, brilliant until he hit the deck.
Ground, you need to release
got a
the
bit
ball.
carried away, felt he wasn't held, but clearly the tackle had been completed. But really well read, big overlap for Italy. They maybe needed a little bit more depth. Niniashvili gambles, goes early, gets in the eye line, and Italy's so desperate to finish off their first move. They throw the intercept.
Yeah, we're gonna
brilliant from the fullback right up until a mistake where he tried to regather his feet and go again. And this gives Gallagher a chance to put it right down into the corner and allow Italy a first attack through their line out.
Oh, it's just up here. It's time for the injury. Holding the ball.
Well, reminiscing with Richard Cockrell in the week about that fabulous day in Batumi where Georgia claimed their first Six Nations scalp. Everything that day, Niniashvili turned to gold, and they will need their rock star this afternoon, just as Italy will need their captain. Michele Lamaro looking in some considerable discomfort there.
It's a huge carry from Lamaro. First up, he dips that shoulder, and that... See how he almost folded it underneath himself in trying to get low. Big collision on the top or behind the shoulder and he will have just compressed all the nerves and maybe done a bit of damage to the soft tissue around the joint as well. But that is a big loss. He was pumped up for the game. You saw him during the anthem.
Time's on.
And certainly a bit of a talisman for this Italy side, particularly with so many changes from last week.
Means that Manuel Zuliani, who has it now at the back, smuggling it onto Giacomo Nicotera, is on for the Italians. They use him as a super sub. He very rarely starts, but he will need to play 78 minutes here in Genoa. It's Nacho Brex who has it now and who will assume captaincy duties. But Italy shorn early of a leader, and of a man who set a new all-time tackle record in this year's Six Nations. There is a body of work that will need making up in his absence. Audacious offloads from men on shallow, but with nobody home together.
Get him on your side, Damien.
Menoncello giving a little bit of grief there to Trua, saying, why didn't you catch that? Brilliant offload from me. He's not short of confidence. He does well to get the hands free. Drag in Niniashvili. It's a bit of a blind one out the back door. Trua had come off his wing to come and try and assist.
Middle's good, middle's good.
Stay there, it's fine.
Good.
Vano Kakardze picking out Ilias Bandarashvili, player of the championship in that Rugby Europe title earlier on this year. Him and Menoncello, the crown jewels in those two tournaments. Both out at the Luigi Ferraris this afternoon.
Okay, using 5.
The charge down was a big factor in yesterday's England-South Africa game. Bit of pressure on the kick, and now a free run to the fullback, but just slightly too long. The kick.
It's Trullo with the gather, and then the slightly less svelte figure of Simone Ferrari making some territory up here. Up off the left boot of Paolo Garbisi. Gathered beautifully by a soaring Niniashvili.
Actually tripped over his own player as he got aerial there. Could have been a very nasty injury, but did so well to hold the ball as he hit the ground.
They're made of stern stuff, these Jordans, seemingly titanium hewn, and they're straight back to their feet. Niniashvili back into the defensive line as Negri has his first chug of this one.
A little bit lucky there, just overdid the clear out, took the Georgian player a long way past the ruck, gets away with it.
Landed right in the breadbasket of Niniashvili, but then skittled out, and it's allowed Garbisi to rake that one into the backfield. Sandro Todua, the veteran of this Georgian side, had the option to call the mark, but instead they play.
It's a wonderful kick, really good kick from Niniashvili. And this take as well. Gets up. Well, it is actually Ioane, I think, who makes the first contact. He's lucky, Ioane, that there's a lot of traffic there.
Jumping, and it's your own player. Did he hit?
Oh, it's a blue.
I think the Georgians are actually asking the referee to take a look at that. The TMO has confirmed it was. Certainly the first camera angle, it looked like it was the Georgian player, but on the second viewing, I think Ioane's slightly lucky there.
I think you're right, but Glenn Newman, our TMO, was spooling away in the background and ruled that play could continue, and no harm seems to have been done to Niniashvili, who leaps again into Italian skies and brings this safely down. Might we see a first foray into the Italian half by Georgia, ball in hand?
You're holding him in. Okay, using 5.
Ross Vincent with eyes for the charge down there, but Lobjanidze using all of those 88 caps worth of experience to not just enter the Italian half, but the Italian 22.
Really do with a turnover here.
Stip.
Garbisi's going to clear the lines though, and goes for distance. Happy to put the ball off the field rather than making it a competitive one. And back his line out to try and get into this Georgian outfit.
That's baby Garbisi right there, Alessandro. Big brother Paolo's the one at fly half. They've started alongside one another just twice in Italian colours, making a little bit of history in and of themselves there. And on each occasion, Alessandro's found his way onto the scoreboard, so we know it's a combination that works.
Okay. We're going to restart now, water off. Injury's good.
Wait, trying to keep the tempo of the game up as much as possible. That will probably suit the Italians.
Okay, 6.
Fabulous work from Lamb, and it's his locking partner, Niccolò Cannone, who gathers that one. Alessandro Garbisi brings Nicotera into the fray, and again stabs it up, but this time the charge down comes good. It's fine work from the hulking Giorgi Javakia.
Outside.
As well, and it is becoming a consistent theme since they've removed the blockers that the Nines always used to use on the box kick. You now have to be bound, which means even with good length there in the caterpillar ruck that Italy had,
Outside.
any sort of hesitation from the Nine, he knows he's going to be under massive pressure.
Good contest.
Nika Abeladze of Montpellier straightening and slamming into the Italian line, but fabulous work. Ross Vincent strips it.
Goose man.
Crisis averted.
He's really well, Ross Vincent there. The Georgians saying that the ball had been taken back by the Italians, I think, into the 22.
Enough talking. Enough
Ben
talking.
O'Keefe doesn't like the chat.
We're correct. Line out.
Well, the Italians have never won with Ben O'Keefe in the middle. He's overseen them on a quartet of occasions, and they've not come up with the dub on any of them, but nor of Georgia, so whatever happens, a little slice of history to be made.
Unless it's a draw.
Oh, let's hope not, let's hope not. And after their World Cup, where they're held to a bitterly disappointing draw against Portugal, Georgia will be hoping to avoid another top-tier draw too. Luca Metcalver, first time we've said the fly-half's name for Richard Cockerell's men. With the tip on, and then lending all that he can at the breakdown.
See the Italian line speed there. I think Georgia may have an opportunity if they can hold their feet, not go forward as forward carriers, but then pull it out of the back. It's getting a little bit narrow, the Italians, when they come forward either side of the ruck, but then there is space a little bit wider out, so if they can beat that rush defence. Obviously the Georgians, you're expecting those forwards to carry into the heavy traffic. It's part of their DNA of the game. He just needs to make sure he doesn't stay too upright in the contact. Obviously wanting to stay on his feet and contest the ruck.
Well, Lamb has been busy at line-out time already. That's a steal, a handful of takes. And deftly dealt with there by Menoncello, who found himself well wrapped up. Alessandro Garbisi onto his brother. This now Brax up to Ioane on the wing. Melbourne-born, but playing his club rugby in France and his national stuff in the blue of the Azzurri. Big meters made.
Okay, stay on.
So much pressure, so many bodies flocking to that ruck there.
Just got a shoulder check, Ioane, there as he was running through, and he very nearly got to the ball anyway. Without that shoulder check, he might well have been first in the race to the ball.
Pressure from Garbisi on Lobjanidze, so that means they don't quite get the distance that they want, and on the pivot is Menoncello. We know what he can do if given an inch. Garbisi squared again. Brax onto Lamb, who's wearing 5, but he's played in practically every position in his time. A prototype loose forward. And here's another dynamic one in Zuliani, but he's got Georgian arms all over that.
Number 1 was to the side.
That's the danger, particularly with the physical prowess of the Georgians in and the tight exchanges. Italy, we've seen, want to play a wider game. They want to get the ball out towards the likes of Ioane quickly, which means they're spread across the field. So when they do have to tuck tight and go through the front 5, they are going to be under-resourced at breakdowns, and the Georgians very quick to snap onto the ball and steal that penalty.
Irakli Abtiari there, the tight head, affecting that turnover. He's a shouldered boulder, 21 years old. but already an essential part of that man's plans. A quarter-final in 2027 is the big title at the top of the mood board. They want playoffs rugby. The next time the world's heavies gather. It's been a mixed 12 minutes for Georgia's line-out, but that one gets the job done, and this is their second visit into the Italian red zone.
It's a nice, easy win to settle the nerves, isn't it? After Dino Lamb pinched the last.
Spandarashvili has his pocket picked. Setting off after that one as Brexit bounces high, but Niniashvili's got such wonderful awareness and the footwork to match. Keeps that one alive.
Falling, play on, I've got no foul play.
He just completely missed. He went over the top, didn't he? Obviously, Carver there just dropping straight to the floor.
Probably for the best, he'd have lost his head. Matt Carver escapes unscathed, and it's his half-back partner extricating the ball now. I'll go to the skies here. But there, the fingertip, fine fingertip work.
Brilliant by Niniashvili there. Was isolated, but hadn't been tackled, so cleared the ball away. Bit of a scuffle going on to the left. Georgians have lost 3 of their players to the scuffle. Italy only 1.
Using 5!
Well, it takes 3 men to envelop Niccolò Canone, who gets a disdainful shove from one of the water carriers, get back in the line. The wrestling ends and the rugby resumes. Matt Gallagher on his home debut. His first cap in Samoa over the summer. Looking for a first win still in the colours of his maternal family. Trula with the tackle.
Brilliant from Trula. Unfortunately, not as accurate by some of the other players that followed in.
2 players go off feet.
But Trula makes the tackle, jumps back to his feet, and then doesn't even try and target the ball, just goes past it to allow the free shot in behind him, but just stumbles Trula. I think the referee did mention that he went off his feet, but I think that's a bit unfortunate because he tripped.
We're playing.
And well, if there's one nation you don't want to get into a wrestle with 3 of, it's Georgia.
We play on.
You say that, Niccolò Canone is 6'6" and 120 kegs of pure fury.
Isn't wrestling the national sport in Georgia?
Yes, it is. Wrestling. It's football, then wrestling, then weightlifting. So you're quite right. Pick better fights, Niccolò Canone.
There's no time off.
18 kicks from hand so far.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. You know, we have seen potentially a slight uplift in the kicks because of the escort runners not being allowed to protect their kickers in that middle third of the field, but it is resulting in more attacking opportunities. I think both these sides are a little bit nervous of each other as well. I actually don't mind seeing more kicks. A lot of people say, well, we don't want more box kicks. But if we get more attacking off those box kicks, what we didn't want to see more of was the kick tennis, where a team would just stand in the middle of the field. Basically, the forwards would stand still and the nines would kick backwards and forwards to each other. I don't mind seeing more kicks out of hand if we then get a great bit of unstructured play off the back of it. It's almost like a little restart to the game. We know how well the defences are organised and structured, and we're trying to find ways to make that more difficult for the defensive team.
Okay, time's on.
Well, it was certainly enthralling at Allianz Stadium in Twickenham yesterday. Some of the aerial battles to be had there, and tired forwards as games wear on are only going to make for more excitement.
We've seen some of the tapes today. You know, it's pretty exciting seeing the athleticism and the skill levels of some of these back 3 players.
Just a shame that injury, or concussion rather, has deprived us of Niniashvili up against Ange Capuozzo at 15. That blockbuster. Perhaps a battle we will see more going forward if Georgia can find themselves.
Georgia, the knock on by blue.
More fixtures against Tier 1 opposition. They're stringing them together, and they're developing a handy habit of taking scalps.
Quick sit, please, guys.
Italy in
Here's
Batumi,
the mark.
Wales in Cardiff, Japan this
Based on
summer
the
in
shoulders,
Sendai.
combined.
Might we add Italy in Genoa to that list?
First opportunity now to look at
Yep.
a facet of the game that traditionally has always been a strength for both sides, but clearly
Give me a bit of
a
tape.
super strength of Georgia. Obviously have been shipped in by England on occasions to be a live scrummage opposition in training, give England an exposure to one of the best scrummaging outfits in the world. A few changes, as Richard Cockrell was alluding to before the game, but certainly it's in the DNA, and probably down to the fact that they do create wrestlers, and that undoubtedly is a strength when you're scrummaging.
On that one there, Nika Abuladze just receiving a little bit of attention, part of the scrum that won the penalty in Cardiff that broke Welsh hearts. As we said before kickoff, in the words of Richard Cockrell, short, strong, aggressive men, and 8 of them are about to go toe-to-toe with the best of the Italians.
Yeah, please, one.
That young man's had a decent start as well, hasn't he? That's another steal. Vincent settling very, very quickly into his career as a test player. Been one of the few bright spots in an Exeter Chiefs campaign over the last year or so. Team hasn't been playing well, but he's certainly someone who's come to the fore.
Wait for the call.
And now doing it at test level.
Come on.
Name-checked by Seb Negru when we spoke in the week as someone who has trained the house down in Rome over the course of this campaign.
Bind! Sit!
Fischetti, Nicotera and Ferrari.
That is a good shot
To his knee!
from the Azzurri.
And it allows Vincent to pluck and go and pinwheel and offload. Alessandro
This is good for
Garbisi
me.
with work to do, but his brother in as acting scrum half. Brax taking to the skies and finding one hand but not two of Trula.
Just slightly too much on it from Brecht. Good scrum. They win the penalty, so they know they've got
Lucy
the
goes to the
freebie.
knee.
Brecht can afford to
Lily going
take a
forward.
little bit more of a gamble on his kicking game. Again, good work from Vincent to break from the base, no one in front of him. And
I
then
didn't
knows
see that, but he
exactly
goes
what
to
he
the
wants
knee
to do
first,
with that
and then they
little
went
break by
forward.
Vincent
Yeah.
going down the left-hand touchline. He knew that Georgia were going to be narrow in that wide channel, but just couldn't find the control to drop it for Truya.
Well, that's from Matt Gallagher, an absolute peach of a touch finder. The man they call Il Mulo, Giacomo Nicotera, will be throwing from the perfect position here. Minus a metre. And in a bid to end what has been a proper stalemate so far. Lamb found and Vincent on an arcing run. Tackle needed to be made and was by Sutskiridske. Gathered though by Lamb, rumbling and squirming, but looking for all the world to be held up.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, good tackling. He just got compromised, didn't he? Dino Lamb, as he rolled round, he found his back towards the ball. He had the momentum of the players arriving in blue shirts to drive him over the line, but he couldn't spin his body. Went over the line backwards, and then it was just about holding him in place. That's when he gets compromised. The extra shot comes in, does really well. The Georgian defender to get in on the ball, couldn't quite see who it was, but stop him turning and grounding it.
An acrobatic take from Vincent, who has been busy. So many involvements in just a quarter
Stip,
played.
stip. Don't touch the 9, don't touch the 9.
By all accounts, the only player quicker in the Chiefs squad than Vincent is Josh Hodge, the fullback. He's got pace to burn. Speaking of which, here is Ioane, and then getting a toe to it. is one of the Georgians. Proper foot race on here. It's a real race. Matt Carver all but had the beating of a furious scramble.
Houston 5!
On the cusp of their own 22, beneath the sticks. Listen to the volume crank
Houston
up
5!
at the Luigi Ferraris.
2!
Alessandro Garbisi finding Gallagher. He finds a lovely pressure-alleviating kick.
Huge kick from Gallagher, but there just shows the danger of Georgia. Italy look like they're on attack, look like they should be running that ball in. With a little stab ahead, and then Garbisi is beaten all ends up, but he just keeps his composure. He knows he hasn't got the pace to hold Kahoidze off the ball, but he shapes his body well, and he, most importantly, is accurate with his pickup of the ball. Very easy to have fumbled that there, and he would have been in a world of trouble. Pressurised moment.
No, they've got one out.
And you want one of your most experienced players to come up with the goods.
Lamb again, making life miserable for Vano Kakardze and co. Free ball for the Italians, Suliani. Brax laying it back to Garbisi, who throws the dummy, and then on an incisive line, it's Gallagher. Showing that he can do the rough stuff along with the delicates.
Series never back, Paul.
Niccolo Cannone.
Yeah, back for the penalty.
But back we come for the penalty.
Never back.
And it's Nika Aboladze giving that one away.
Playing with the advantage, that's okay, but I just think
Shot
that
clock on, please.
Gonzalo Casado will be a little bit upset with his team that they're not converting opportunities. Ball spilt on the floor by Cannone. That was prime try-scoring opportunity. And maybe with just a nod to the fact that it is a stalemate and they need something for all the pressure that Italy have had.
Perfect, great work.
BC opts to stick this through for the first three.
He's had bigger kicks in terms of distance and difficulty and pressure too. The man who kicked Wales away from the lead in Cardiff. The man whose penalty fell off the kicking tee in Lille against France in that hot-in-mouth Six Nations encounter. But that might prove significant. Italy up and running, 3-0 with 21 minutes played.
I still don't know how that ball fell off in an indoor stadium. How does it blow off the tee?
And then it fell off the next week as well. Extraordinary. But still, crucially, a best ever Six Nations for these men.
Okay, inside.
Looking to build on it now, looking to park the disappointment of Udine, taking 50 points at the hands of Los Pumas, and knowing that in 6 days' time, their regular tormentors, the All Blacks, are rolling into Turin. They need to build some momentum.
Italy. Stay in the middle of their pool. Go in the middle. Let's go in the middle.
This time the drills are clean, and Matt Carver can find Kakoidze, one of the up-and-coming stars of this Georgian outfit, in the midfield. Lovely delayed pass, and then Lobjanidze playing the 1-2 with his blind side, finding Tabutsadze.
Happy live.
And the first try of this one goes the way of the Lelos. Consider that a gauntlet thrown down, a statement of intent at last in Genoa.
Well, what a score that is. Beautifully worked, and I talked about Italy's accuracy and lack of when they had opportunities. One shot for Georgia, and they get it lovely into play between Lobjanidze and Spandarashvili. And then once they make that little break with the 1-2 passing and they're in behind, it's just about picking off the defenders. They do it perfectly, lovely interplay, back out.
20.
And then they find, with Italy overcommitting on that wide channel, another secondary ball back on the inside. a really smart score that any team would be hugely proud of. Maybe that will spark the Italians into life a little bit now and put that pressure on them to deliver when they have opportunities at the other end of the pitch. Been limited opportunities for this Georgian outfit. Absolutely perfect finish.
And the try scorer, of no surprise to anyone who follows Georgian rugby. That is his 40th try in 45 tests. He's just 0.1 points per 80 behind Will Jordan.
2!
Gallagher with ball in two hands and magic in his boots. Some fine footwork there. Nothing delicate about that from Seb Negri. Here is Brex back and onto Garbisi. The little show and go there. Drawing in a couple of red jerseys. Garbisi again, picking out Ferrari. The Benetton Centurion, so many of Treviso's athletes in Quesada's outfit today.
Charge down, Beck and Italy.
Alessandro Garbisi onto Nicotero, who clatters off Apziauri. Garbisi again to Lamb, bumps one, steps over the other, rumbling into the 22. Dink through from Alessandro Garbisi, but it's got too much on it and no one else was on the same page.
Just wonder whether that's been a tactic that Italy have looked at during the week, because of their analysis of Georgia. That's a couple of times in that play that both Garbisi brothers just tried to nudge through when actually the hands were probably on. So I just wonder whether that's something they've gone into the game thinking Georgia are a little bit slow to react in the backfield. Maybe they overcommit in the front line and there are opportunities to thread the ball through, but you have to play with your heads up. And again, Italy missed a couple of opportunities.
Players on, keep retiring.
Gathered by Gallagher, who wears 15, just as he did in last year's Premiership final. His opposite number, Niniashvili, wise to it once more. And scooping things up safely. Lobjanidze. There's a mismatch. Nicola Canone towering over him. The Benetton Colossus making his tackle.
Using 5!
Ferocious work on the floor. Dino Lamb at the heart of it. He's having a bright start to his afternoon.
Yeah, big counter ruck, and you can't play the ball that's underneath you and lift it. The counter ruck on that far side, I think it was... Who was it?
Let's go, Italy.
Over the ball. It was Kevazladze that was just very upright on the side of the breakdown, almost inviting the counter ruck, but didn't dip his shoulders. And under the huge pressure, the ball was lifted and penalty given. It's a cheap penalty to give away that for the Georgians.
Matt Gallagher with a shot at his first points at test match level. 46 metres. He's going to have to welly this one. They had the distance by some, but listen to Georgian voices raised in Genoa. 3-7 it remains.
I am watching. He jumps from here, he's okay. I'm watching his foot. Damien, their ball there, their ball.
Just a concern from the Georgians about Brex and his charge down here and where he takes off from. Has to have his feet behind the 22 when he actually takes off.
Again, he's okay.
Gallagher shelving the disappointment, sticking that one high. Vincent with the chase, and just up in the eye line of the Georgians, scurrying back to field it. Well hoovered up, though, by Tabut
No,
Sadze.
he's got a lift.
Cockerell talking about how one of the things he's really working on with his back three players in this setup is the fact that, yes, scoring tries is fun, but being a winger is about more than that. It's about chasing kicks, it's about hoovering up scraps, it's about applying pressure in all the right places, and the pragmatic side of things coming to the fore there.
Not like Cockers to take the fun out of things, I'd have thought.
Brett finding Jacopo Trula. Back to brace in that famous win against Munster for his club Zebre earlier on in the URC. Italy still with the lion's share and then some of possession, but they're struggling to make anything pay. Now though, with an advantage to flex, what can they do? Alessandro Garbisian to Paolo through the hands of Gallagher. This Trula.
Playing with a freebie, referee playing the advantage for offside now. Secondary advantage, so opportunity to be a little bit more risky with their approach play here, Italy, knowing they can come back for the penalty.
Attacking with 14, there's a player down on the far touchline. This their 6th visit to the 22, and the forward pass won't help.
Come back for 2 penalties. High tackle or offside. Nacho.
They'll get a choice of position.
High tackle there, or offside over here. Inside the 15. Where is it? Right here.
First one for a high tackle.
Shot. Shot
A
call. This
little
penalty
bit
was for
upright in the
offside.
tackle. He does fall backwards, so they'll adjudge that to be limited danger as a soak-up absorbing tackle. Now the Italian player does stay down.
Nacho Brecht, perhaps unsurprisingly, the captain without Michele Lamaro. All but 2 of the tests since his debut back in 2021. At the heart, literally and figuratively, of this Italian renaissance that we've seen over the last couple of years. Him and Menoncello, intrinsic to all of that success.
Absolutely. They have got a nice little backbone of experience in this team that have grown up substantially. You go back to the era of Italy and who their strong players were, and when those players like Sir Castrogiovanni left, people were thinking, what's the next generation going to be like? And actually they've taken it on to another level in terms of their consistency of performances. Good decision there for me for them to go for the points. Very easy to back themselves, but in this game every little win for Georgia is going to be massive, so keep chipping away at that scoreboard. Eventually some of your attacking plays will stick and you'll score the tries to go with it, but don't need to force it at this stage of the game.
Back into the pocket, Lobjanise to Matt Carver. Eyes for the drop goal, but a few metres shy of the requisite.
8 blue, goes early, never got back.
And it's not just this crop of Italian athletes coming through. The Azzurrini, their under-20 sides, now well used to beating the big names in that Six Nations. France in recent years, England, Scotland, all tumbling to the young men in blue. And we should say Georgia have beaten England under-20s twice in the last 2 years. So these are nations on the rise.
And I think that we're all talking about opening up the game and expanding the game.
They didn't adjust back.
Clearly, Italy have been there for a long time without
much
much relative success. I think people have worried a little bit about how quickly they've got to the level they are now. But clearly, they deserve their place at the top table. The Georgians, I don't think you want to rush it and then almost have the same thing with Italy, where they're perennial whipping boys. And so that gradual approach of feeding them in, but the really important thing is that younger crop coming through in that tier below in terms of age, and integrating them and making them part of the tournament. So you grow it organically, and then eventually when Georgia are ready, I'm sure they will take their place at the top table. I don't think it'll be long before that move is made, but what we don't want to do is put them into a competition where the pressure becomes a little bit too much. So absolutely we want to see Georgia there very soon, but we want to give them the best chance of flourishing when they get there.
No, there it is, there it is. Get your own player.
Well, who knows what's on the horizon for Georgian rugby. Today is all about the remaining 50 minutes in Genoa.
Guys,
the result,
always
the performance.
Under pressure. Knock on from the
and
kick.
if that results in a few more campaign materials for Operation Get Georgia to the top table, then so be it.
Well, another win today, and that conversation probably shifts on a year or so.
I had the contest. And
beaten Wales, beaten Italy. They win today with another victory over the Italians.
No, that's not the rule. I've got to decide whether they've gained
all
advantage.
The pressure
They're always under
on
pressure,
World
so
Rugby to make that step up will be exacerbated massively, and it will have an effect. So all they can do is keep on turning up, keep on taking the scalps, and they will be taken seriously.
With all the talk about who should be in the Six Nations going forward, the side you feel are looking a little bit precarious is Wales, who host Australia after us on TNT Sports 1. Staring down the barrel of their worst ever run of defeats, Warren Gatland's men. France time fly, though, 2 from 2 in their Autumn Nations Series adventures. Los Pumas are their visitors next Friday night, and we'll be bringing you that one live too before we are on to the Premiership Rugby Cup. It's a rematch of last year's semi-final between the Cherry and Whites and the Chiefs, whose Ross Vincent is having some day in Genoa.
Yep.
I think the Italian discussions at half-time will all be about accuracy. You kick a 3 points and then immediately give away a penalty at your end of the field straight after the kickoff. These are little moments that you have to be better at.
It's contestable from Gallagher, and the other man wearing 15, Niniashvili, says, yeah, I'll have that.
Niniashvili has been superb under the high ball. Not the biggest of players, but the spring that he gets means that he gets up as high as anyone else, and his accuracy in the air has been staggering.
Some of the stuff he does, Cockrell said in the week, you cannot coach. He just makes things happen. He's fizzing about in the backfield now as Alessandro Garbisi gets his under-20s teammate Manuel Zuliani to buy him a little bit more time and space to pick out Niniashvili. Off he goes, the man with a 72% tackle evasion rate in the Rugby Europe Championship. He's just left half of Genoa for dead and found his scrum half on his outside shoulder for a score that is majestic, mesmeric. Georgia are playing some fun rugby today.
Cancel everything I just said. Let's get Georgia in the Six Nations this year, please. That was superb. And Niniashvili, we were just talking about how good he has been. His accuracy under the high ball has been superb, but it's those little bits of play that no one else can do. Takes the ball, it's a relatively easy catch under no pressure, but the eyes come up immediately, and he sees the gap, and his ability to look like he's running at full tilt, but then find an extra 5–10% of acceleration, timing of the pass. So Lobjanidze, absolutely perfect. Just as it looked like he might get caught man and ball, he gets the ball away. No way Italy could have recovered from that. And Georgia look like they're going into half-time with a substantial lead. So balanced in his running style, but his ability to transfer the ball into two hands at the perfect time, the spatial awareness of where his support is, where the defenders are and where they might be weak. He is such an exciting talent to watch.
Matt Carver is 3 from 3 off the tee as well, so it's 17 plays 6. Leonardo Marin is on for Jakoto Trula, that's an HIA, so wearing 22, the Benetton man.
I was speaking before about Italy's accuracy on the kickoff. It's Niniashvili who takes the ball.
2! Inside.
Lobjanidze, he looked absolutely emptied by that support line down the other end. Does manage to clear efficiently and safely.
They get their exit right, and Italy didn't do that. We've heard a call from the sideline of a big 2 minutes. They know they have to survive without Italy scoring in the next, minute and a half now. Richard Cockrell getting those messages down to the pitch as well.
Fingertip stuff from Cannone, his brother absent, and they're feeling it, Italy. Sean of Lamaro and of Lorenzo Canone, two of their back row warriors. But here's the third of that trio of regular musketeers, Seb Negri. Paolo Garbisi finding Brex, who thinks he's spotted an inch or two of space, but the door is slammed shut. Sutskaridze with the tackle. Giuliani is down in the backfield, compounding Italian woes. The play will stop.
Guys. Reset here, Italy ball. Time off. Right. Your scrum.
There is blood there.
Where you hit the ball. Where you hit the ball.
Which clearly isn't great, but the hope will be it's a soft tissue injury rather than something more serious. And a knee injury or the like.
Well, he's already come on to replace Lamaro, which means they're without back row cover on their bench. Lam, you suspect, would go into flank, and Ricardo Favretto is their remaining option.
Just give me the 10 seconds in your head.
But points per visit, Ben, 0.4. You don't see numbers like that.
No.
To put it bluntly.
No, they've been poor. They have been really poor in it, creating plenty of opportunity, being given lots of opportunity. But as I've kept saying, it's just the accuracy.
Mitch Lamaro, Federico Ruzza, so much rugby IQ and leadership, both unavailable for the remaining 40 of this one. Will Giuliani stay on the field?
Just on that replay there, you might just have seen how Niniashvili just managed to control his speed, to buy himself that extra little bit amount of time to get his hands ready to make the pass. He keeps running at exactly the same speed. I think he gets tackled by the final defender, but just that balance and the way he was able to jam on the brakes just to allow enough time for his support player to go past him as he delivered the perfect pass.
He's out of contract, Niniashvili, at Lyon at the end of the season. La Rochelle, Toulon, Toulouse, all rumoured. We'd all be lucky to have him. But good news for those supporting the Azzurri today. There's the white scrum cap. There's the muscularity of Manuel Giuliani back on his feet, all taped up, limping something rotten.
Stop.
But part of a penalty, winning scrum.
Tight here, just overextended and then straight down.
On the referee's side of the scrum, the penalty's given.
Tight his feet too far back,
Apciari
overextended.
Just got too long in the feet, didn't have the balance to be able to keep himself upright, and one last shot for the home side. How deep can Garbisi put this ball into the 22? Well, not really past the line itself. It's Gallagher, sorry. He would have wanted a little bit more than that. Italy aren't going to be able to drive it all the way from there.
An 8th visit to their 22, just a pair of penalties to show for 40 minutes of huffing and puffing in the face of staunch Georgian defence, and shackled by their own inaccuracies. Nicotera has it, and now they must use it. Driven back from their 22. Garbisi onto Gallagher, who opts to ride the tackles of Kveseladze. Short side, Garbisi to Garbisi, still going. Kakoidze with a must-make shot. Menonchallo in at scrum half. Clock is red, and the men in red soaking up these phases. Giuliani playing on one leg. Slowly, gingerly to his feet. Brex onto Ioane, in off his wing, out on his wing is Gallagher. Pinwheeling and thrashing, and eventually hauled into touch.
That should have been finished. Gallagher has to get low, he can't be dragged into touch there. Brilliant ball over the top from Ioane, but Gallagher has to come off that touchline and duck his head. He allows a shot at his shoulders, and that keeps him upright. He has to go lower here. And then the support play coming in, wrap underneath the ball, keep him on his feet as much as they can and drive him towards the touchline. Great defence, but another opportunity Italy have to score.
Well, Richard Cockrell said in the week, I am sure they want to put us back in our box, but we are going to Genoa to win. The first 40 minutes have all gone nicely according to plan. Two beautiful scores for the Georgians, and they lead Italy. And Italy are yet to join the party. A brief flash there of the face of Nacho Brex, who's been captain ever since 90 seconds into this one. Michele Lamaro leaving the field early with a shoulder injury, so lacking leadership, lacking bite. And with a full 11-point deficit to claw back over a huge next 40 minutes. If they manage it, it will be their biggest comeback in Test match history. Their previous biggest comeback, 10 points at the World Cup against Los Toros of Uruguay. From Toros to Lelos, and it's Matt Carver chasing after his own here. Doing a full 360 is Montijuani, who finds Menoncello on his shoulder, and Alessandro Garbisi whips it away. The accidental bounce pass picking out Negri. Vincent on to Zuliani, who took a real clatter to the lower leg in the final minutes of that opening 40, but seems to have been patched up during the interval. When, Ben Kay, what do you think Gonzalo Quesada's main message will have been?
I said in the first half, just accuracy really, but equally now they've just had a number of forward carriers that have lost the collision there, which meant that every breakdown was slow and allowed Georgia's defence to get on top. So going back to the air now to try and disrupt things a little bit, but I thought their first kick chase was a little bit lethargic. Wasn't a lot behind it. They just, as you said, they're not at the races. The energy level's not there, and somehow they need to manufacture that. Vincent's had a good game. Need a big carry from him early on, perhaps, or one of their other big ball carriers, because the first few carries of the game, before Lamaro went off, we thought, wow, they're going to steamroller Georgia here, but they've not been able to carry on in that vein.
Okay, quick set, let's go, please. Space on the line.
An area where they have had parity and they've won a couple of penalties is this one right here. Georgians infamous for their scrummaging, but fine work in the opening 40 from Fischetti, Nicotera and Ferrari. Packing down now against the colossus that is Abeladze, Karkadze and Atsiauri.
Let's have a completed scrum.
No one goes forward, everyone's here.
This one doesn't result in a free kick or a penalty.
Good scrum, good scrum.
Keith happy that it was a good contest that just went to ground. There was a bit of crabbing to the left. As the Italians look at it, Italy certainly attacking early on, trying to get that penalty. Happy to keep the ball at the number 8's feet.
Italy, hold your weight, good balance. Crouch! There. Let's get some balance, let's get some balance. Quick reset, let's go.
Two new head coaches, both installed after the last World Cup. And Quesada enjoying a pretty storied run to date. That historic Six Nations campaigns, wins in Tonga and in Japan over the summer. For what unfolded in Udine last weekend took quite a bit of wind out of Italian sails. Crabbing again, but Vincent has it at the base.
Guys, we're coming this way. No one's going
Good refereeing, he's not prepared to give a penalty, just to move away from the scrum. Happy to have this battle, to traditionally great nations of scrummaging, both very proud in their physical prowess. There's someone that doesn't know a lot about scrummaging, but you get the impression now this has become a little bit of a story, this particular scrum. This is Italy, happy to have the ball at Vincent's feet and try and force that penalty. They want to own the narrative of the scrum in this second half, get themselves a first shot.
They were more at scrum time than anyone else in the Six Nations, but today is all about Georgia so far.
Not staying straight. Georgia go forward. Italy don't stay straight.
It's a really good scrum. You can see slightly higher on this side. Apsiari happy to lift that right shoulder. Cockers. I mean, that's better than winning the game. Getting the scrum penalty. That was a huge moment, because if Italy had just started to win that psychological battle there at the set piece, it gives them some sort of foothold back into the game, some part of the narrative in the referee's mind that they're not being blown away by the underdog team. So by surviving the two and then coming back and winning the penalty, you can see why Richard Cockrell celebrated that so hard.
And we mentioned Quesada there. We should also note that the man in the other coaching box is an equally decorated individual as a player and as a coach, relishing the challenge of getting Georgia to a first World Cup quarter-final in 3 years' time.
Georgia on top
Very
of them.
interesting with Richard Cockrell. Anyone who remembers him as a player, you wouldn't have necessarily put it down to detail being his thing. It'd be about always turning up, giving 100%, which he still requests from his team, but he wants those little details done very, very well. Line-outs, scrums, always set your bar so you're always difficult to beat and then try and improve it from there.
Balance to the forward pass.
Well, Arveladze fancied himself as a decoy runner there, and he was in fact the intended recipient of that one, so it bounces off a burly shoulder. Dino Lamb gathers it, and the ball is played to the veteran, 37-year-old Sandro Tordua, who chases his own. There he is now. Gallagher has a tilt and is well met by Babunashvili. Laid back from Ferrari, Garbisi on now to Brax. Menoncello finding Vincent out in those wide channels where he can flex that formidable athleticism. This better from Italy, and you can hear the roars of appreciation from the stands in Genoa. Brax chopped low by Lobjanidze, who finished off that absolute perler on the half-hour mark. Alessandro Garbisi on to Negri with an acceleration and a spurt. Nicotera brings up a 9th visit for the Italians. Stymied to date, still without a try this afternoon. This was not in the script. Today was about getting back on track after a humbling at the hands of Felipe Contepomi's Pumas. Hand goes out from the referee, so a free hit. And taking that at speed was Trula. Nicotera again, he's so industrious, the young hooker, as the face count hits a dozen. Alessandro Garbisi onto his brother, through to Brax, the captain, the two centres in tandem. It's tried and tested, but on this occasion it does not go anywhere.
I'm actually sure that was knocked on. Thought that was the Georgian hand that potentially knocked it on, but I thought it went backwards. They could have played a little bit more advantage there, but better from Italy. I still think every player that takes the ball has a fraction of a second hesitation. There's not that confidence that they're in the flow of their game. So you compare that with the tries that Georgia scored in the first half and how crisp the handling was. Here, a lot of Italians holding onto the ball, just looking outside them, then tucking to go themselves or then giving a pass, but that means the defence is already an extra couple of metres further forward for the next player. So they just need to find their mojo a little bit. That play will have helped them, it will have given them some confidence, but this is a big moment in the game now. They're not going to get a better opportunity than this. 5 out. Referee already on their side in terms of having given away 2 advantages in the last set of phases. They have to deliver here, get this home side, but realise the enormity of it right behind them.
So many nibbles, so many opportunities squandered, and that maul going nowhere quickly. So, out for a little bit of width and speed, and Brax makes a couple of metres. Zuliani
No clear release.
with a beefy pirouette, and now Lamb sizes up the men before him. 2 hulking Georgians who eventually haul him down. Quick ball, better from Garbisi, up and onto Fischetti. Here now is Negri. hunting for what would be his third try in the jersey of the Azzurri. Fischetti again. The reload slower this time, but by hook or by crook, they are getting closer, Italy. Georgian defence standing firm for now. This Giuliani. He has Ferrari in support. The tackle from Sutsiridske. Garbisi up and over the top. Gathered well by Tabuadze. And again, Italy come away empty-handed.
Yeah, they'll get the penalty. Tabuadze did really well there. He was panicking because Italy had narrowed up the Georgia defence really well, and he knew he was stuck in no man's land. The ball kicked over his head, and his recovery was superb. They've gone quickly.
10 metres from a first score, and a desperately needed one. Lamb gobbles up 5 of them. Fischetti again. The loose head getting so much work done, but still Italy not going forwards. Garbisi to Giuliani with Ferrari in support. Red and white jerseys, narrow now, surely options out wide, surely. Garbisi decides to go it alone, but he's well read by Kvesaladze. The big outside centre bringing in the half-back and slamming him down. Canone over the ball for Nicotera.
Vantage, for red, offside, puts in front.
Wonder whether the referee will start to warn Georgia now for a yellow card. A lot of penalties given away in the last few minutes here.
Georgia need discipline, Italy need accuracy. This is Trula. Doors slammed shut. Niniashvili scooting across and Tordua too. Giuliani with Italy's 10th phase. Here is their 11th. It is chipping and chiseling.
Time off.
But chips and chisels
I've got 2 that
are not enough.
But I'm watching the trend here. Trust me,
Getting through.
I'll talk to them.
An awful lot of work ball carrying alongside Vincent as well. I still think there were opportunities there where Italy should have scored that, and potentially it's the hesitation on the pass. A team that's full of confidence throws the ball straight away, but we just saw a couple of times when there were opportunities and Georgia had got really narrow.
It might be serious.
Quality players like Garbisi just not prepared to put the ball through his hands, wanted to hold it for a second and check outside him so he didn't throw an intercept.
We need to keep going then, guys.
And on their A game, potentially when they're not playing as not underdogs, maybe that's it. Maybe when they take a bit of a bigger risk when they're playing against a France or an England or a Scotland. But here, that tag of being favourites is sitting a little bit heavily on them, I think. Not so for those Georgians and the men, the brains trust behind them, if we can call it that.
Okay, Georgia, you have to do something.
We touched on that fixture against Uruguay at the World Cup. It's exactly that. They were favourites heading into that one, and the mantle of that did weigh heavy upon them. On that occasion, they were able to haul back a 10-point deficit to get themselves a win in that pool, but today, proving elusive.
We actually will see a change in that if the score stays as it is for the next 15 minutes. If the scores stay as they are for the next 15 minutes, Georgia will start to think, hang on, we've got an opportunity, we have to hold on to it. They will start taking less risks, and Italy will realise that if they don't do something now, the game's gone. They will start taking more risks, and it might start to click for them.
Well, Georgia came to Genoa as underdogs. It's the hosts who are underdogs in the game. We'll be bringing you next as Wales host the Wallabies in Cardiff. We might be shorn of a presenter. I think Craig is still chatting to that nice lady outside the stadium, but we'll manage. We will get through it somehow. And then hopefully we have Craig back and available for us next week in France as Argentina look to bounce back from an infuriating evening at the Aviva. At the same time, if you fancy some club rugby, Gloucester-Exeter on TNT Sports 3. Nicotera with the ball at the base here.
Get ready, next stoppage, get ready, next one.
8 extra large jerseys collide. Italy stopped in their tracks, so they look to get it a little bit wider. Brax on an incisive line, and then Vincent.
Advantage, it was this 18, just going to be a warning.
An advantage for Italy. Surely they can start to make the penalty count work in their favour. Wide from Garbisi onto Menoncello. There were options out wide, but they didn't find them. Georgian hands on the ball. Abeladze thinks he's turned it. Italy somehow still with possessions up. Garbisi up over the top. Kabutsadze gets a hand on it.
It's a genuine attempt to take the ball there. He knocks it on. I don't think that's a deliberate knockdown. He very nearly gets to the ball. They will check it. If they decided to deliberate knock on.
I'm going to go for a yellow anyway. So you check to make sure we don't have a penalty try. Okay.
So
back, please.
The penalty and a yellow card will come for the amount of penalties.
So the first thing is that we've got multiple offside advantages, okay? So that's the first thing that I've already looked at. The last thing we want to determine is whether we've got an intentional knock-on by this last player in the lead-up to the goal. We're looking at the actions of whether he's intentionally hit it forward, and then if there's a penalty try potentially afterwards.
My first take is he makes a genuine effort to take the ball.
I've definitely got repeat infringement yellow card. We're just going to look at the actions. Yeah.
Well, that might actually... It's the same yellow card, so this is just whether it's a penalty try. So if he's already offside, it will be a penalty try, because him being offside has prevented a probable try-scoring opportunity.
So Glenn, I just need a wider angle, because at the moment we believe the action is an intentional knock-on.
Yeah, we're working on it.
So we just want to make sure whether a probable try was able to be scored, please. So if you put that back on the big screen, I want to look at the distance from the touchline. So I want to look at what he has to do to score that.
If he's already offside, for me, that's a penalty try.
I believe the pass is in the position that the 11 could capture. So it's an outstretched arm. So a probable try would have been scored, in my opinion. Are you happy? And so it's 14 red. Yeah. Okay. There's definitely no colour. So we'll check there's no colour. Okay, you guys happy? Okay. Basim, captain, for 14. He's extended his hand. A probable try would have been scored. Then we try.
Just saw... It's just, what? A penalty try?
Incredulous.
The right decision. He never retreated to an onside position, so I actually don't think it matters too much whether it was a deliberate knock-on or whether he was making an attempt to. He was never entitled to be in that position, and he stopped a probable try-scoring opportunity, so I think that's the right decision. Tough for Georgia to take. How do they respond now, and how do Italy respond, having got themselves back into this game? Well, not the start they would have wanted. Kicking the ball straight out, compounding error on error. The one-man advantage for the Azzurri. Can they use this as a springboard to start to attack? First job, get the scrum right. You know, Georgia will come for you. Frustrated, disappointed. That will be always their first route back into a game, is at the set piece.
Stay up, push straight. It's on the middle. Yeah. Angle, go back.
Get the heart rate on Richard Cockerill watch. It's gone through the roof.
Okay, can we try and
Well, the captain, Lobjanidze there, received a yellow card just last week against the All Black 15s, and the Georgians stepped up to the plate immaculately. Weathered the storm, 7 points to 3.
Yep.
They're not bad
reset,
in these situations, but as you said, Ben, it's a pressure cooker in here now, and their captain is off. So Gela Apasidze is on with the red scrum cap, a man that the Italians know well.
Crouch!
He slotted a penalty in Batumi on that fateful afternoon, which kicks off the Georgians' handy habit of taking scalps.
Reset.
Those trademark tufts of hair sticking from the scrum cap.
Good control, stay up.
He's a wily operator, zippy enough that he's played on the wing for Montpellier.
Stay here.
And watching on as a fresh Italian front row get to work. Lucchesi, Spagnolo and Ceccarelli, his Perpignan teammate, getting cosy with their European counterparts.
Reset. Guys. Okay.
Lots of new bodies
You're new.
in that front
You're
row.
all new as well. Keep it up, please. Okay? Elbows up, keep it high. The first person that keeps it up will be rewarded. You're both going down.
You can see the stress, the pressure at large on the face of Alessandro Garbisi, who will feed this one as we go
Advantage.
in hunt of a first completed scrum of the afternoon. Paolo Garbisi on to Trula. Ioane is lurking behind that one, but it's through the centres they go. And then the carry from
Hinken.
Ceccarelli.
Great work, I tightened this side as well.
And the lads that the man penalised right in front of the referee. Italy will now use this penalty to drive themselves into attacking position again. That man advantage for another 7 minutes. Richard Cockrell deciding to bring on some fresh legs to try and counter that power play that Italy will feel that they've got. Just give them almost like a Formula One team choosing to go to the fresh tyres.
Giorgi Akaladze is on wearing 17 and Lado Chachanidze on. Confusingly, in for the other 6'7" Netherlock, Lasha Jayani, who wore that jersey last week. 21 of Cockrell's men plying their trade in France in the club game. Top 14 and Pro D2 athletes everywhere you look. And the new man immediately with an impact. And then there's something you don't see every day. A tight head with a left-footed clearance kick.
Time off.
There is an injury here. I think it might be cramp due to the way he lands. It's actually a single lift, gets up with just his back lifter and pinches the ball. Let's hope that's not a twisted ankle. Looks like a cramp in the calf. Great steal.
Understand. Yeah, look, I know. Not much I can do. But I'm setting your line out there, so it's going to be in the way of your line out. If it's out of the way, I'll play on. I will.
Well, he's scarcely been introduced to the fray, and Lado Chachanidze is having a little lie down and a drink. As Gianmarco Lucchesi, newly arrived in Toulon this season, the former Benetton hooker, prepares for his first throw of the afternoon.
Okay, time on.
Vandarashvili back on his feet, attacking this line-up, checking out that calf.
Close the gap, no space.
His athleticism was good, but he just closed that metre gap that's required down the middle of a line-out. And seeing the bodies running in, we all knew what they were running in for. A little bit of argy-bargy. Ben O'Keefe not too concerned.
Guys, we clearly close the space to the line out, that's why we get the turnover. Free kick.
And Niccolo Canone straight back in where he left off in the first half, picking fights with Georgians. And into attacking detail, because here come Italy, knocking it on. And that's music to the ears of a Georgian outfit weathering the storm of a yellow card.
Yeah, just another moment that feeds that Georgian beast, feeds that belief. Every little mistake Italy will make as that clock ticks away, they'll feel that they're on the verge of something special yet again against the Italians. This time on Italian soil.
7 handling errors so far for the Azzurri. It was 17 against Argentina last weekend, who punished them with 5 and 7 points on practically each and every occasion. Georgia not quite as lethal on the counter, but playing from deep here. First through Jalagonia. wearing 8 and filling the enormous shoes of the injured Becca Gorgadze.
I think that was it. Sorry, in from the side from Italy there. They get away with that. Trying desperately to turn the Georgians over. Could very well have been a penalty for Georgia to relieve the pressure. As it is, they have to go the more conventional route.
Well, Aprazidze, he's only little, 5'9", but he has got a cannon of a boot, and he has just alleviated no end of pressure there. A number of bodies committed to that breakdown. It's a real wrestle.
Okay, keep the space
Again,
now,
talk
Georgia.
about feeding the belief of the Georgians. 4 minutes left on that yellow card clock. If they can hold out without conceding anything in that 10-minute period, again, that's just another boost to their psychology.
Down by blue, down by blue!
I'll tell you what, looking at this team, they take some feeding. Brax on to Paolo Garbisi, who's got mischief in his eyes, and 15 metres gone like that. Lucchesi now. Negri has Ceccarelli in support. Brax again with the no-look pass, finding Cannone. Hands all over it from Matt Carver. And for the 11th time this afternoon in Genoa, Italy are within 22 metres of what would be a second try.
They swept across the pitch from right to left there, and Georgia were really narrow, but they couldn't get it into the wide channel. The Georgian defence is narrow, and they're playing into their hands by never getting outside of that hard press, which slows down the breakdown. We saw right at the beginning of the game them willing to go a little bit wider earlier and drag the gaps in the Georgian defensive line a little bit wider.
Got to stop for your own player here. You're good.
3 phases they went through there, and you're just thinking if they can just get to that corner, the final member of the Georgian frontline defence, they're running into open space, those easy meters on the wide channels, and then it all becomes about Georgians' scramble defence rather than that front-up big tackling that we've seen every time the big Italian forwards have carried into the red wall.
Okay. Sorry? We do, your ball.
Seb Negri there, just rallying the troops, keeping heads up and hearts full. As ever, putting in a totemic shift. Talking in the week about how he has been there for the ups and the downs and everything in between in the blue of Italy. It's all been worth it, he says, but it hasn't half been difficult. He's so keen now for this group to ride the wave, all of their recent momentum. And what a moment this is, as Manoncello leaves the field. On comes Giulio Bertaccini, the 23-year-old from Valo Emilia, and Italy's second division, Serie A elite. Gonzalo Quesada keeping such a close eye on that division since his appointment, and he heard this name a lot by all accounts. Really surprised that neither Zebre nor Benetton had picked this man out. Today he earns his debut as a raft of Italian cavalry rumble onto the pitch, including Alessandro Fusco, the scrum half, who has the ball there. Riccardo Favretto is also on for Nicolo Cannone, straight on into the engine room.
Okay, guys, it's Italy ball, so Georgia, set your space. Italy ball, no leaning. I'm going to be looking to break foot, good space.
3 quarters of this one played. 2 tries in the first half from Tabusadze and Lobjanidze for Georgia. Italy responding with a penalty try. And not long left on that yellow. Fusco feeds and then finds Brax as the pigeons scatter, and out wide, waiting for it is Trula with 2 to beat. Both of them make their shots as Italy reload and go again. Vincent with a hulking clear out. Ball stays blue somehow, for now. Vincent in over it, Lucchesi there too, Trula on his shoulder. Here is the new man, Favretto. Paolo Garbisi hurling it onto Vincent. Lamb swerving and straightening and finding Ioane. So prolific in an Italian jersey, but he's had nothing come to him this afternoon. They have so struggled, Italy. All the endeavour and none of the forward motion, none of the puncture.
Carnage offside, here, first pillar.
Offside again, Georgia. We've seen this one before. Italy have never won at this ground. This is their 7th visit to Genoa. And the streak might well continue if they cannot prize themselves off the canvas here and do something about it.
A yellow card here.
Gianluca, who's the captain now for Georgia?
Certainly a warning.
Time's off. George. So you're the new captain now.
Yeah.
Okay. Previously, when we were down here, we had 3 offsides. The pillars are stepping in front of the hindmost. We already had a yellow card for something separate, but the trend is continuing now. 8 was the first man at the pillar, he's offside. Okay. Men need to get back, the next one will be a yellow card. Please explain.
There's a way of managing that as a player, particularly as your captain there, your 9s, your 10s,
Okay.
just telling the
Georgia,
referee,
ready?
almost conning him a little bit, just saying, you're shouting, stay onside, stay onside. You can just manage that situation.
Time on.
Maybe slightly more difficult if it's not your first language, some of the players, but having to deal with Richard Cockrell, I believe most of them do speak English.
His Georgian is terrible by all accounts.
His English isn't much better.
Your words, not mine. Fusco on the most incisive line you will see all day. And at last, my Italy have awoken from their slumber. A desperately needed score. And they hit the front for the first time since that lone opening penalty.
It's brilliant from Fusco. He's actually been really good since he's come on. Saved his team with a clear-out when they were totally exposed at a breakdown. And Georgia would have won a penalty and cleared their lines, and now he adds to that effort with something that people might not have picked up, with certainly something that people will have recognised. His brilliance, what a carry this is, good movement from the back. They look like they're going to drive, but instead of landing with the ball, just leave it to a Fusco already in motion, a show and a pump to see what the defender's going to do. The defender gets upright as he hesitates, and he thinks, I'm going to hold myself. If you're upright, I can go through you. And boy, does he do that. Fresh legs, fresh impetus. Italy in front.
His first cap in 14 months, and what a way to mark it. Georgia had done so well, but at the last, the sin bin period ends 7-0, and then they cough up the penalty of the restart, and the volume has never been higher in Genoa. The loudest it's been all afternoon, as Gallagher finds halfway.
Important for Georgia now, they find a way just to arrest this momentum. It's a really good carry. It's always going to be a difficult tackle for Sucre Kredza, because he's coming sideways on, so unless the man standing in front on the outside shoulder of Fusco can do a job of stopping the momentum, and that's the gamble the 9 takes, and he goes over.
Confidence flowing through Italian veins, that and high and arcing and ambitious line out, but it gets the job done. And look at them launch now, look at Italy start to sparkle. Montione, with the penetration that he's been struggling for all afternoon. Fusco thrusts it backwards, in over the top.
Georgia go off their feet there, they're very lucky. Ben O'Keefe lets them away with it. They're trying to make the breakdown a complete mess.
Italian tails are well and truly up. The try scorer brutaling for it, and in hinges, all 6'7" of Favretto. Garbisi hoisting it high, but Tordua just calming things for a moment with the gather. Nothing calm about this. Bodies glutting to the breakdown as Akladze rises and carries.
That's your own player. There's Georgia.
clutching a calf is Tordua. That looks like cramp.
Step back. Time off, guys.
It is cramp.
Restart with the Georgia scrum.
Just seeing quite a few Georgian players getting up from breakdowns and limping, and I think there is a bit of cramp setting in, a bit of fatigue.
Over there, I actually thought your players were off. So I allowed to play on.
They're probably quite grateful for that breather. Opportunity to clear their lines now with their lungs full of oxygen. See the number of tackles Georgia have had to make. That'll give you an indication of why their players are starting to fatigue and cramp up. Much more difficult being that defensive side, not in control of where the ball's going, having to work and make sure you number up those numbers on either side of the breakdown.
Scrum to Georgia.
And then there's the physical contest as well, but really good finish from Fusco.
As part of an impressive coaching ticket, Richard Cockrell has employed Dan Bow, former Canadian flanker, who wasn't afraid of making 1 or 2 tackles in his time, so he'll be putting the squad through their paces, getting them test match fit. But not enough for Sandro Tordua to go the full 80. Another change made for Georgia.
Crouch! Bind!
Which means that Taburi Tapladze is on. Lurking.
Play the ball.
Behind
Stay
this
on.
big maroon scrum from which Jalagonia sets off. He gave All Blacks grey hairs all afternoon last weekend with ballistic shuttles off the base like that.
Here we are.
And this ball is anyone's. It's Dino Lambs now, and now Manuel Zulianis, who gets the offload away, and Vincent pinwheels, wonders who he might find. It is a casual dink through from Garbisi. Ioane with the gather, and just about holds off field.
They're not sure. Again, if they bomb this opportunity, the kick's not as accurate as they would have hoped. It's all kicked off again in the corner. Passions and tempers flaring.
Well, this game matters, and you can see it. There is vengeance to be had for Batumi. There's the ongoing Six Nations debate. It's been simmering along very nicely indeed.
But this should be a clear-cut try for Italy.
He's clearly out. Okay, so we're going to hit the line out. We would normally restart here with the line out. If your players choose to run in, that's when we start giving penalties, when we start giving yellow cards. In a tight game with 30 minutes to go, if your players choose to do that, I'll penalise them. Please talk to them, calm. We'll have a line out for Georgia.
Vincent's play was brilliant because he knew where the space was, so he threw a speculative pass, but he knew even if it doesn't go to hand, we've got numbers out there, and he threw the ball into space. That created the opportunity. The kick was not the right angle, it was too deep. And unfortunately, they couldn't finish it off, but again, you feel Italy have had enough opportunities to be well ahead in this game, but they just haven't taken them.
Yeah, so just watching anyone running in now, like if we get a push and shove, let's not overreact. But
Jalagonia's crush up and at Placide's clearance. What a weekend we have enjoyed of international rugby. So many fixtures on a knife edge.
Just didn't need to be that far. Yes, the cover gets across really well, makes the tackle. Plenty of time to put that kick in, maybe too much time to think about it.
Not straight. Ball's caught out here.
You just feel that everything's going Italy's way at the moment in terms of the tempo, the crowd are happy. It's a three-point game. Unless they finish off one of these opportunities, Georgia will come back. Georgia will get the ascendancy in terms of the flow of the game. They might be down on the scoreboard, but while it's only one score away, that will be a significant concern, because Italy will start to panic a bit if it's within one score with a few minutes to go, as all teams do. You don't want to take those risks. You don't want to push the envelope too far in case you make a mistake. And Georgia, as underdogs, won't have that pressure.
What they sorely need is a bit of territory. We've not looked left all second half, but this will go some way towards helping with that.
Straight down. Loose head, straight down.
I'm 100% sure how you call that one. It looked fairly even to me, and they've missed their touch.
Always backwards, always backwards.
Ioane gets away with one there. The ball fumbled, but backwards.
Okay. Yep,
and they're all at it. An opportunity for Niniashvili to counter, but perhaps a little fatigued. He drops it onto errant laces.
Hasn't made many mistakes today, has he? Niniashvili, here we go. Italy trying to take the quick throw in. Georgian defence alert to it.
7 subs. 7 red, Georgia.
Every time we take my group, it's problem, and tell you every time. Grouping, and you say nothing. You said it twice, and hurry up, come back.
Time's off because there's a substitution for your player.
29 tackles.
There's a substitution
Next one at 22. They are big numbers. We'll see where Italy are attacking. Deserves his... He doesn't want to sit down, does he? He's going to say he deserves a sit down on the bench.
Huge numbers reflective of a gargantuan effort from a tiny rugby-playing country. Just 8,000 registered players. To put into context what an achievement this would be.
Free shot for Italy, advantage being played.
Italy with a penalty at worst, up and over the top. Wondered if that might have been a little shade forwards, but Ioane will gratefully receive and do what he can. Garbisi with the cross-field kick.
For repeated, just the others were in the 22, right?
The referee starting to really ponder the ill-discipline on show.
Zidzo is offside. He's saying it's not a yellow card because it's not in the 22. I did wonder whether it was a deliberate slap down in the tackle. He started in an offside position, and he also knocked the ball on, and I just wondered whether it wasn't a natural tackling motion.
Italy is back here.
It's from the breakdown. It goes against 21. He's offside. Well, that's 20, isn't it, that's there?
Here's the mark.
Certainly, referee saying it was against Aphrodite, the number 21.
Matt Gallagher will have another shot at goal, another shot at getting his first points in an Italian jersey. Missed that earlier penalty. Don't recall him kicking much during his time at Bath. But he's a Benetton man now. And on his second cap for his country, what can he do? Pull it wide is the answer. That's 6 points gone begging. 3 points remain the difference.
In some ways, a sort of odd decision to take the points. I know it's a 3-point game, but I don't think Georgia are going to want a draw necessarily. I think they're going to want the win. And Georgia haven't had any territory in this half. So the threat really from Georgia has been from try scoring. So maybe Italy would have been better putting that into the corner and trying to pressurise the referee into another yellow card in that danger zone.
It's steepling from Gallagher, and although Niniashvili was the highest leaper, the ball's with the men in blue. Across the face, past Zuliani and on to Favretto. Fusco, the try scorer. A little injection of pace. It's a mess at the breakdown for Lucchesi, who heads back in against the grain and disdainfully bumps off a Georgian. Fusco again. Giuliani awaits, so too does Ceccarelli, and these hands are lovely from Quesada's men. Fusco onto Gallagher, and then Vincent. Garbisi on to Negri, two of the experienced operators in this side. They need that experience now. There's a game to manage, there's a game to be won. Because Georgia won't go away. 19-0 down against the Wallabies in the summer, and they came back to have an opportunity to win it with minutes left on the clock. Gave them the fright of their lives. As the phases mount, and again, Italy aren't going anywhere north to south. Vincent's latest adventure, and then a carry from the big man, this Marco Spagnolo.
No hands!
So much excitement around this young loose head. Negri again. Here now Brex, the captain, onto Garbisi. Flat pass from Gallagher onto Ioane, who is strong through contact and manages to get the offload back onto his fullback. Giuliani having a longer and more exhausting afternoon than he'd anticipated. Somewhere down there, Michele Lamaro watches on through cracked fingers. Fusco to Brex. 14 phases, the most we have seen in this fixture so far, as Ioane pops up.
Spilt that.
Play on!
Thudded away by Aprasidze.
See, they haven't got the energy for the kick chase. Opportunity to counter here.
Do Italy have the energy in response? Trula on to Gallagher. Left-footed. Stalking that touchline is Niniashvili. He looks tired.
Brilliant kick from Gallagher. Vincent stayed down. Looks like he's hurt his hand.
Italy playing a devastating territory game right about now. They're not threatening an attack, but they're not going anywhere either. Prasidze. Again with the safe clearance, but they need more than that.
Yeah, they do. That's why I said it was a really bright kick from Gallagher. Rolled it along the 5-metre channel, putting all the emphasis on Georgia to try and play their way out from their own goal line. They probe, they get to the wide channel, head comes up, he sees who's at home. That's a really well executed end-over-end kick. Puts Niniashvili right into the horrible zone, and you just saw Vincent injuring his hand there. Good tackle, great chase. He's got so much energy, hasn't he? He's someone that's had such an impact on this game.
Restart.
9 points in Asti in 2008, 11 points in Florence in 2013, and 9 points in Batumi in 2022. This will be the tightest it has been between these two sides. So symbolic of how Georgia are stalking down these Tier 1 nations. Menoncello.
It's a great steal. Wonderful steal, perfect technique. They've been frustrated at the last few breakdowns when they've got hands on the ball and the referee's told them to release it. This time, the accuracy to get the hands bang on the ball, no grass before they come back to the ball, and then uses the weight of the clear out to rotate the ball carrier onto his back and show the referee he's trying to steal the ball. That's a big moment, possibly their last shot. Need some field position. Need to secure this line out, get into the Italian half for the first time, then play with patience as that clock ticks down. They will feel, with the accuracy of some of their attacks in the first half, all they need is one decent shot. Big pressure on the Italians now.
That's good. Good.
A massive throw for the equally massive Luca Neoradze. And it's Italy who rise with the ball, and might that be the contest?
Okay, using 5. Take a step.
Just when Georgia needed to be clinical.
Hits it straight out.
Just there.
I can't believe that. Georgia get another shot. He can't believe it either. He definitely can't believe it.
I wish we had that heart rate graphic.
A lot of slow movement on the last one, a lot of decoy movement. I just wonder whether they might go with something a little bit more simple this time. I've got that wrong as well. Recover.
To the tail and scruffy with it. Italy will have the put in with 90 seconds remaining in Genoa.
Oh, maybe it's the new 9 that comes in. Akazidze just overruns that slightly. And because the jumper has to reach above his head, he's got no vision of where his 9 is, and if he overruns, he's going to start to deliver it in the space where he presumes he's going to be. Just a bit of sympathy needed there. Well, big scrum for Italy. They're probably going to be happy to keep the scrum. It's out of range. You'd imagine just keep it at number 8. Just leave it in there for a second, see whether you've got any advantage.
Georgia scoreless in this second 40. It's been all about the Italians, however wasteful, however often frustrating to watch. They have hauled themselves a whisker back in front.
Italy need to make sure that all their support players stay on their feet here. This is the sort of time on a clock where referees give penalties for going off your feet if you're just trying to run down the clock by this zigzag approach of ball carriers.
They need discipline and focus and patience, all of which are so hard to come by when lungs are screaming and legs are burning. Ross Vincent, who has been heroic, adds another carry as the seconds ebb away for Georgia. Fusco will send that from the field and raise a defiant fist. And beneath the jubilation in Genoa, you can just about hear the sighs of relief from Italy. It's their biggest ever comeback in Test match rugby. It's their first ever victory at this ground. But the exhausted and heartbroken Georgian bodies littering the field tell you all you need to know about how close the visitors came to an almighty upset. Unconvincing by the Azzurri, who have the All Blacks to contend with next week, but it is job done for the men in blue. Full time, Italy 20, Georgia 17.
A huge day there.